My name's Guy Kesterman. I've been a professional bike and kit tester for over 27 years. And today, I'm out in the Merc on a Turk. Because this is my live ride review of Yeti's SB140. Yeti's is having a relax. Yeti's SB140 T3 lunch ride. So, as you can see, from the sign in October at the start, we're at Boltby Bash Enduro in Yorkshire. Cracking little mid-scale enduro up on the North York Moors. Oh, hang on. Gonna have to let Gabe go. Forgot to put my specs on. I've never ridden it before, which is a shameless thing. Well, to be fair, I used to ride the Boltby Bash in the early 90s, but it's a completely different kettle of fish. I'm not on the right way. I think so. Oh yeah, there's Gabe. Right. So, excuse me taking terrible lines as we go down, but the idea is this SB140 is Yeti's true mountain bike. Halfway between the SB160, full-on enduro beast, and the 120, one of my favourite shorter travel trail bikes, with 140 at the rear, as you'd expect, and on its lunch ride spec, 160 at the front. And in the UK, we only get the lunch ride spec. The rest of the world, you get a normal version with a 150mm torque, but here in the UK, it's just the rowdier one that Silverfish bring in. Could have sent that a lot faster. So, let's talk about Geo. Oh, hang on. It's over there. Let's take the inside of the corner, not the outside. Sorry, Bracken and Bluebell. Right, so 65-degree head angle on this lunch ride. 65.5 on the standard bike, and then 77-degree seat angle, that pedalling poise, 480mm reach, because the reach comes back 5mm, and then BB height 342mm. Wait. Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
All right, stage one. Right, as you can see, yeah, we're riding ahead of the marshals being in place on a lot of it. We're just coming out course checking, like I do at the Hard Rock as well. So yeah, some fun sight unseen there. Oh, by the way, this is Gabe. Say hello, Gabe.
Hello.
And Gabe's on the Canyon CF7. Very similar bike to this, actually, and I'll probably do a comparison video at some point, because there's a wild difference in price, which we'll get into on the next stage. We'll do a little bit each stage. Probably talk about suspension on the next one, then Geo, and then kind of sum it up, because I've been riding it for a couple of months now. No more than that. So I'm pretty well placed to know what's going on with it. And hopefully, we'll have a conclusion by the end. And obviously, there's plenty of bikes with similar geometry to that, because it's good all-round speed numbers. But what you only get on a Yeti is what they call switch infinity suspension, and that is a unique floating knuckle. Sits right in the belly of the bike on two little Kashima shafts on these Turk bikes, and it's what Yeti call a translating pivot, and by that they mean it rises up as you start the compression and then flips a kind of 40% of the way through the stroke and starts going in the other direction. What they call the inflection point for the later part of the stroke. And that basically completely changes the suspension behaviour. Starts off with quite a lot of anti-squat around the sag, so you've got good positive pedalling. So as you can see, while I'm on the pedals now, got a really good positive feel. That means you've got a bike that really hustles. And then once you start pushing deeper into the stroke, the hits get bigger, then there's less pedal kickback. The whole bike feels a lot more plush. And then when there's a light rise like this, on with the power and really drive hard. And because this is kind of a mid-weight bike, 14.5 without pedals, so this SRAM Exo spec does really cover ground nicely. And they kept tyre compounds to max terror as well, so there's no max grip on here choking your speed. You know, it's designed as a properly balanced trail bike in that Canyon Spectral, Yeti GFC, Santa Cruz Hightail mould. And like I say, on this Turk, not only do you get the more expensive, lighter carbon fibre layup, but you also get the latest Switch Infinity setup. So you've got a redesigned knuckle with collet bearing pivot through the centre. You've got metal seals on it now. Upgraded bushings, you've got grease ports, because that was, you know, one of the, oh, I love this bit, I haven't ridden this in ages, complaints about previous Yeti Switch Infinity bikes. They were pretty needy in terms of maintenance, so they've made sure they've addressed that on these bikes. And that ability for it to feel really taut kind of around the sag point at the moment now, so you're really keen to get the power on whenever you get the chance. And then just as soon as you lift that front wheel and push it past the inflection point, and it's quite subtle on this bike because you're only looking at a 14% progression rate, so it's more progressive than the SB140, but not as progressive as the 160 and 165. Because I think, yeah, you make a point of saying, why would you want it more progressive? The way it's set up, you don't use all the travel normally anyway, so why do you want something that risks coming up short? There we go, hustling through here. Still got enough rearward axle path to take those little square hits and keep the speed sustain right up. Hey, and then when things get chunkier, she's ready to send. Whoa, hang on, gone the wrong way. I mean, it's getting increasingly hard to differentiate suspension platforms, basically because they're all so good now. But the Yeti is about as close as you'll get to kind of analog flight attendant. Well, hey, Gabe got the high line there in terms of adjusting suspension to how you're moving and riding the bike. Yes, it's just these little power sections when you get the bike on and you've got just a little bit more kick than you probably would have on a 4-bar. That's where a Switch Infinity, way too wide on that one. Whoop. I've got the fender on. You? Hey, That's where this bike really comes alive. Wait! A little pop. This is such a good course. Bluebells are still out. Oh, mini rock berm. You can call 4 rocks in a row a berm. I guess you can. That's proper old school. It's got proper, like I say, to ride here in the 90s. It's got proper old school 90s vibes. And of course, you know, Yeti have been around since then as well. One of the most iconic, storied mountain bike brands out of Colorado. Wait, oh, nearly lost DHF there. Nice bit of handling balance showing off there. Ah, nice one, Gabe. Boom. And while remember, Boltby Bash all run on private land, private stages, only open for the event. So don't be looking on my Strava because it ain't there. And do not come and ride these tracks outside of the event because you'll jeopardise the future of a really deservedly well-loved, long-running event and basically ruin it for everyone. So just make sure you get yourself signed up. It's generally one of the earlier events in the calendar and a really, really great way to kick off your riding season. So cheers to Chip and everybody at Boltby Bash for having me along. And here are the event sponsors, Ride Nutrition. At least I presume they are, or they've just happened at random to a corner of a field in Yorkshire.
Morning, guys.
I'm just trying
to move him on and he won't move.
Stage 3. So this 140 places the old 130 is the mid-travel bike. And to be honest, apparently very popular was the 130. I didn't really get it. It just felt like a 150 in terms of weight, kind of being quite cumbersome, but without, you know, obviously losing control because it had less travel, whereas the 150 was an absolute monster truck. This feels like much more balanced, a worthwhile bike really, especially with this 160 on the front to match up that excellent rear suspension. And I should say this Turk version gets full factory Fox as well. Well, not full, well, full shock and fork anyway. Transfer post is actually a performance. It's a bit of a shame. It would be nice to have gold there as well, especially as you've got gold on those Switch Infinity shafts. But never mind. Where was I? But yeah, you get a completely reworked frame as well. So they've lifted the belly up, so there's more clearance. It's holistically stiffer, which I guess means the whole bike is stiffer, but they also work on all 5 sizes to make sure they have a similar feel in terms of ride quality. Plus, they all get different length chain states. 440 on this large that I'm riding, but it's 2mm less on medium and small, and then 2mm more on each of the large, sorry, extra large and extra large, because even the big lads get to play on Yetis. You know, proper Sasquatch sized Yetis are available. And as well as this Turk frame, oh, and you get Enduro Max bearings as standard on this bike.
Yeah, boy.
Which is great, you know, they're obviously channel sponsor, but that also means like lifetime, come on, a lifetime warranty. Woo! Bearing in your main pivots as well. is always nice from a longevity point of view. Oh, and the frame's lifetime warranted as well, which if you like any of Gabe's mates we've been talking about as we go around, is a very useful thing.
Yeah, a lot of things.
And that 77-degree seat angle combined with that really plush, say it's 2.7 leverage ratio at the start, drops down to 2.3 as it ramps up at the end. That means nice little connection and grip and a good pedalling poise for these steeper transitions. And while I nearly lost the max terror on the last descent, I'm glad I've not got max grip now coming up here. And also, it's just nice the way it doesn't get bogged down. Yes! Whew! That's enough talking for now. But it is fair to say that Switch Infinity and those big chunky interlocking linkage knuckles do add some weight to this frame, so definitely not the lightest 140mm bike around. Gives away about half a kilo, something like a high tower in similar spec. Come on! Oh no! Got it. Clean the rest of it. And one thing I forgot to say because I was running out of oxygen is that in the UK there's no option of the DT Swiss carbon wheel upgrade that Yeti offer elsewhere. £1,000 gets you a nice set of 1501 splines rather than these alloy 1700s, which are, you know, super tough, reliable wheel with a great feel. But if anyone thinks that number still means they weigh 1700 grams, that was several generations ago, and they're a lot heavier now. And one thing you realise the more you ride Switch Infinity is because the way the axle path changes, because it's more rearward at the start of the stroke, that means it's better for rolling through little janky bits like this, sort of square edges, knocking the wheel back. And then once you got deeper in, not only does the progression increase, but also the wheel path is more vertical, so it's better at handling bigger drops, bigger slams, which is obviously what you want deeper into the stroke, because that's when you're going to be getting there. Cheers, lads. And that is the one thing we've not talked about yet, is spec. And you know, there's nothing wrong with the spec. It's all really good solid stuff, you know, Max's DHF, DHR, like I say, those DT Swiss 1700 rims, absolute classics, super reliable 350 hub, factory suspension, you know, all great. Oh, GX, Eagle, so you got the latest T-type wireless on there, all great stuff. You know, and you get Yeti's own carbon bar in that Bergtech stem, and it's all the right shape, nice short stem, 780mm bar. There's nothing to complain about. Functionally, the only thing to complain about, whoa, hey, is the fiscal element. Hang on, I've knocked my little shot cam there. Right. You know, Yeti do have this reputation for being bikes for the well-heeled, and they're about the only brand not doing discount way at the moment. So even compared to something premium like Santa Cruz for this £9 price. You'd be getting reserve carbon wheels on a high tower with similar spec, and on a Canyon, the CF9 version of what Gabe's riding, you'd be paying 4.8. So you know, you're certainly not going to buy a Yeti for its on paper value. But you know, there are pluses in terms of being part of one of the most loyal groups in mountain biking, the Yeti fan club. Proper passionate group of fans of the turquoise. But you can also get this SB140 in another 3 different colours. Although why would you? Plus the C bike, which comes with, you know, the cheaper spec frame and performance kit and wired rather than wireless GX, comes in under 6k, and it's only, I think, 700 grams heavier, and it still gets DT Swiss wheels and stuff, and performance suspension is bob on. So if you are looking for a value Yeti, then that is probably the way to go. So you still get Switch Infinity, you just get the old version without the latest bushings and bearings and grease guard and everything. But you can actually upgrade that aftermarket if you want. So there is a cheaper Yeti option. I just wouldn't say there was a cheap Yeti option. But I'd also say that there's a real Yeti feel to this bike. I certainly wouldn't say it's the stiffest, you know, you haven't got internal storage in it. Way! Oh, that's the one they take photos on, isn't it? The classic drop-in. I wouldn't say, you know, when I'm braking like that, it's not as stiff as one of these big box section down tube bikes with a glove box or whatever they want to call it on that particular model. So there's a little, you know, that 36 up front isn't as stiff in terms of tracking as it might be on some bikes, but you get a lovely flowing comfort feel that just kind of massages you through sections like that. Just makes it a lot more fluid. It seems to help traction a bit as well. Oh, I know Gabe had the right line there, definitely. Shouldn't cut inside. Come on, guys. Look lively. And it just kind of, I said it on the SB140, and I'll say it again with this bike, it just kind of makes the sum of its parts feel even better than they normally do. So it's really good equipment, but it feels even better than normal on this SB140, and that's one of those things you know, can't put a price on, I guess. But I've been in the bike industry 35 years now, and I can't remember a single time when Yetis haven't seemed overpriced, and they're still going and not even discounting. So fair play to them, really. If they can make that work, then why should they charge less? So there we go, Boltby Bash pre-ride done. Absolutely cracking course. Thoroughly recommend getting signed up for the 2025 edition. Like I say, don't ride these tracks. They're all on private land, and if you do, you'll jeopardise the future of the event because the landowners will get cheesed off. So make sure you sign up for the event. Make sure you sign up as a subscriber and click for notifications if you haven't already, and that way you will know when the tech talk round I do on this bike goes live, because as you can see, she's got a bit dirty on the lap, So I'll clean her up so you can see the details, and we'll go into depth on the tech, on the angles, and on the componentry, and talk a little bit more about the frame design and other aspects of it. So massive thanks to Chip and the crew at Boltby Bash for letting me pre-ride today. Massive thanks to Yeti for loaning me this stunning SB140. It is an absolutely superb bike. Definitely one of the best, most balanced, easy to ride and easy to set up mid-travel bikes available, but at a considerable cost. But obviously, you know, go into that a bit more in the Tech Talk round as well. And massive thanks to my other industry sponsors, who I'll be listing at the end. If you could, you know, they make a big difference to sustainability of the channel. So if you could support them in the same way as they support me, that would be much appreciated by them, I'm sure. And huge thanks, as always, to all my Patreon subscribers who pledge on a monthly basis to support the channel. And it makes a huge difference, again, to how much time I can spend chatting onto a GoPro, because believe me, it's not worth doing it just for the ads revenue off YouTube. So those guys pledging on a monthly basis does make a massive difference. So if you really like what I'm doing with the channel, please consider supporting me on Patreon, and you get early, exclusive and ad-free edits as a thank you. But for now, I've been Guy Kesteven at the Boltby Bash 2024 pre-riding on Yeti's SB140 T3 XO. Genuinely an abominably good mountain bike.